Good evening. Welcome to Varsity Sports Live here on Midco Sports Network. Tom Neiman along with Jason and Dara, and we are halfway through the season, Jandy. So far, so good for
some teams.
For the most part, yeah.
You know, some teams are 2 games through the season, like Coleman Egan. We had a little bit of a hiccup this week, but we're keep plowing forward, and that's what we want to do, is figure out a way to deal with the hiccups and move forward.
All right, let's get to the scoreboard right here, starting with the South Dakota Finals tonight. And Sioux Falls Roosevelt gets to 4-0, 42-0 over Stevens. We'll take a look at some highlights from that one coming up. Number 2, Brandon Valley all over Rapid City Central as the Lynx get to 3-0. And we'll take a peek at that one as well. Big night for Tate Johnson there. Harrisburg is 4-0 after a win over Aberdeen Central.
Yeah, this one started out 7-0 Aberdeen Central. I think they got in on a defensive touchdown, if I remember right, and then 32 straight for the Tigers.
Yeah, Aberdeen Central had a pick 6 there, but Jacob Knuth came into this game with 12 touchdowns in 3 games, had at least 3 more tonight, so Harrisburg keeps rolling there. The game we had live here on Midco Sports Network in South Dakota, Lincoln over O'Gorman. We'll take a look at that. Lincoln gets to 3-1 on the season. Washington over Watertown tonight, 44-29. Watertown, Dawson Schmidt had a 102-yard interception return for a touchdown, but Watertown turned it over 7 times.
Well, that was a problem. The same problem they had last week with Rapid City Central. They haven't played a complete game. By the way, the Warriors went with Tyus Hansen at quarterback tonight. I believe their starter, Max Thompson, was out, I'm guessing, for COVID reasons, but don't have total proof on that yet. But they managed to get a big W they needed. Washington and Watertown both 2-2.
Vermilion led Yankton in this game in the fourth quarter, 21-20, but the Bucks had a couple of touchdowns late to pull it out 34-21.
That's the lowest output this year by Yankton, by the way.
Rolling along to Brookings and Madison. Madison led 14-0, and then Brookings swamped them from there. Big night again for Josh Barai, and we'll take a look at some highlights of that one coming up as well. Pierre and T area, that game was postponed, and then it was canceled because of COVID issues at Pierre High School this week.
It's a bummer because we love these AA matchups, and this one would have been really a good one.
Yeah, a lot of them tonight on 11A, more than held its own. Del Rapids over Mitchell, 23-22. Some controversy at the end of this game that you were at, Jandy. We'll have some highlights of this one.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. We'll keep you on the cliffhanger.
Huron scored with under a minute left, but could not get the 2-point conversion to tie it up. Canton wins at Huron, 14-12 tonight.
Big win for them.
Sturgis gets its first win of the year, 14-6 tonight over Douglas. St. Thomas More all over Spearfish. St. Thomas More gets to 3-1. Dakota Valley over Sioux Falls Christian. This was a great game as well. Sioux Falls Christian came back, could not tie it up late though, and Dakota Valley goes on to win it there. Bridgewater-Emery-Ethan is 5-0 after a win over McCook Central Montrose in what was a pretty good matchup actually. Bridgewater-Emery-Ethan is still tough.
Yeah, you could say that. The first team to kind of tame Jacoby Krause.
9AA Viborg-Hurley big over Baltic, 52-20 tonight. We'll take a look at that one in a little bit. And Warner over Ipswich Edmond Central. Warner gets to 5-0 with a 1-point win tonight.
And Ipswich Edmond Central is undefeated coming into this game, which made for a really, really nice matchup.
We will take a look at some South Dakota highlights coming up a little bit later. Jody Norstedt's coming up with North Dakota's highlights tonight, and let's go through the scores here. The big class, Fargo Davies is 4-0 over North tonight, 36-12. Shanley and West Fargo Cheyenne, great game. Jody's got highlights here in a minute. Emmett Kenny with a state record field goal in this game for Shanley. Cheyenne, those scores in the final minute to win it 43-38.
It's a couple weeks in a row now that Cheyenne has really put the pedal to the metal and beating good teams. That's got to give them a lot of confidence moving forward.
Cheyenne gets to 4-0. West Fargo is 3-1. Packers over Grand Forks Red River, 34-0. Fargo South first win of the season, 42-15 over Grand Forks Central tonight. Bismarck is 3-0. Demons beat Mandan tonight, 49-21. Jody's got that game coming up here in just a bit. Jamestown was down 14-0 at halftime. Came back to beat Bismarck Legacy, and Jamestown gets to 3-0.
For the first time since 2005, by the way.
Jamestown, yes.
Yeah.
In 2A, St. Mary's all over Devils Lake tonight, 54-0. Hillsboro, Central Valley, and Beulah, both those teams 3-1 now after a good ball game there. Jody's got highlights of that one in just a second. Minot over Dickinson this evening, 23-0. Minot's first win of the year. Central Cass all over Watford City, 42-6. Jody's got that one as well. In Class A in North Dakota, Langdon Edmore Munich 48-16 over Harvey-Wells County. Langdon is 5-0 on the season now. Thompson over Oak Grove 50-26. Jody will take a look at that one. As well as Velva hangs on to beat Bishop Ryan tonight 20-16. Velva gets to 4-0. And highlights coming here in just a second. Shiloh Christian and New Salem both on the season 3-2 now after the Skyhawks get the win there this evening. And some 9-man games in North Dakota. Big time numbers, 72-12. Lemoore Litchfield Marion gets to 5-0, just to be outdone by Mayport CG 74-48. Jody's got some highlights there.
Hope he's ready
as
to
well
talk.
as Kidder County over Beach 46-18. Kidder County is 4-0, and the Cavalier Tornadoes get to 5-0, 56-6 tonight over Benson County. Jody Norstedt settling in West Fargo, and I think he can hear us, and I think we can hear him. Hi, Jode.
Just kidding. I'm messing with you guys. I got you.
Your mic is on tonight. Watch out.
Oh, look at that. Come on, that was week 1 of a couple years ago. Give me a break.
Never forget.
Hey, just go right to the Shanley Cheyenne game. I want to see that.
Oh man, this was an incredible game. First off, some sweet helmets here. Mayport CG. You'll want to see how many points they put up tonight because it would have probably won a lot of basketball games. Kidder County in a big one again tonight. Lisbon gets a big win over EEK. So much going on. And some other great matchups. You mentioned it. Cheyenne, Shanley, 3-0 versus 3-0. The WDA returning from that bye week. Mandan and Bismarck and Legacy and Jamestown playing. That game was a thriller. So plenty of great highlights. Plus the rematch of the 2A championship between Beulah and Hillsboro Central Valley. Tom mentioned it though. Let's get right to Cheyenne and Shanley. This game was an instant classic. The two best teams in the EDC. Davies might be barking at that. Cheyenne ranked 2 in the state. Shanley ranked 4. Same rankings they had last year when the Deacons stunned the Mustangs. This is Jaheim Leak going up to get it. Grant Warkentine passing it to him. Jaheim, a really good basketball player. That ties it at 7. Mattern then Cooper Mattern to Aiden Devine. For the second time they connect for a touchdown. And who said moms don't have school spirit here? They're cheering it on, holding the flag. 14-7 Shanley. Mustangs answer. Warkentine to Barika Penu. 61 yards to the house. This game had all the explosive plays you could ever imagine. Penu, the Bison commit, makes it 14-14. Still second quarter. It's hard to guard a wide receiver that's 6'8", isn't it? Jaheim Leak again. He's just going to add a whole different dimension for this Mustangs offense. It's 22-14 Cheyenne. 1 second left in the half now. Mattern is going to hit Carter Kochman, and all they need to do is tackle him. Well, easier said than done, as you are finding out right there. Kochman into the end zone makes it 22-21 Cheyenne at the half. Third quarter, Mattern swings it to Devine. All he does is get touchdowns in this game. 56 yards to the house, and now Shanley's in front, 28-22. So big momentum boost, right? Well, here that goes. Barika Penu returning the kick, and, well, when you slip a tackle, all you got is the kicker and a few others to beat. 96 yards to the house. Cheyenne back up 29-28. Later in the third, Warkentine scores again. This time it's going to be on the ground, a 3-yard touchdown. Warkentine so good a couple weeks ago. But now Emmett Kinney, this is unbelievable. 58-yard field goal. We believe that is an NDHSAA record. It's the most since Jacob Weiler hit a 52-yarder in 2012. That made it 36-31, but Penu, another touchdown run. And the Mustangs roll tonight 43-38, outlasting the Deacons in the victory.
Our offense, we just came out there and we just made it work. You know, we got it done. Defense, they were doing good, but I'm going to be honest, Shanley's a great offense, and I'm still proud of our defense, even though points were put on the board. But our offense really came through, grinded the ball down the field, and we capitalized when we needed it.
What a matchup. I doubt Mandan fans will want to hear this, but Bismarck has won 8 straight against the Braves entering tonight. Isaiah Hughes and then bruising offense going up against Jackson Dutenheffer in that Mandan defense. Well, it was a heavy dose of Mr. Hughes. The long drive, though, capped off by Caden Fisher into the end zone. Bismarck up 7-0. Mandan comes right back. Garrett Schaefbauer on the kickoff return, and he almost breaks it for the score. Gets brought down at midfield. Hughes comes right back, though, and bursts to the outside, makes a move, 60 yards. Boy, this junior running back, that offensive line, there's Dudenheffer trying to chase him down, the Bison commit, but not going to happen. Hughes is in the end zone, 14-0. Mandan does punch it in just before the quarter ends. A long bomb from Jace Lohman to Tyler Thilmony, but Bismarck comes right back with the strike. Caden Fisher to Gunnar Swanson in stride. Swanson using that long frame to fly his way to the end zone. Bismarck up 27-7 at the half, and the Demons, boy, they really put a licking on Mandan, 49-21 to move to 3-0.
You know, they just went out there and worked hard and did their job, made their blocks, and opened up huge holes. Could almost drive a semi through those holes.
Well, the big thing is I think we challenge our kids up front because, you know, everybody talked about we haven't played anybody very good yet. And so, you know, I think our guys responded pretty well to that. And I think some things that, you know, we've taken a few things personal lately. And, you know, when people start challenge you and challenge your character and challenge what you're about, then, you know, we're going to come out and fight. And I think our kids did that tonight.
Boy, Mark Gibson not mincing words there. His team earning some respect. Grass issues at Ernie Gates Field forced Jamestown to host its game with Legacy at Taylor Stadium. Blue Jays 2-0, Legacy looking good. 1-1 in the first. Lyric Hoffman pounds it into the end zone. 2-yard score. Sabres up 7-0. Later in the first, Clay Phelan, who had that big game in prime time on ESPN, airs it out to Nick Kupfer, which would set up a 3-yard touchdown run by Hoffman's second of the day. Legacy 14-0. Second half, Phelan does the same thing, rewards Kupfer with a touchdown of his own. What a connection those two have. But they missed the extra point. Legacy up 20-0 at that point. 20-0. Jamestown starts their comeback in the fourth quarter, down 20-0. 4th and 12. Ty Munson connects with Preston Cover to put the Blue Jays on the board. So it's 20-7. Now in the fourth, Munson drops back and throws a bomb to Jacob Hilgeman, who takes it 61 yards for the score. Now it's all of a sudden 20-14. Then with under a minute left, this is Munson's going to find Krober down the middle, who makes his way to the sideline for the score. This ties it up. He gets pushed out right onto the track. The Blue Jays knocking the extra point to finish off a wild comeback to move to 3-0. How about those Blue Jays? First time they're 3-0 since 2005. They get Valley City next week. Legacy, well, they get the Demons. That'll be tough. Back to the east, a socially distanced student section. Seen a lot of these lately. Watching 5th-ranked Davies host North. Eagles trying to keep pace with Cheyenne as the last of the unbeatens in the EDC. Spartans, strong start on the road. Davies' second drive, Reed Hartness tries handing off to Truman Weirmeyer, but it's fumbled. Braden Jodis with the early turnover. North capitalizes. Very next play, a little razzle-dazzle. Danny Butane throwing it up to Carson Schultes, 23 yards for a 6-0 lead. Davies coach Wayne Weirmeyer telling his guys to get it going, and they respond after a Hartness touchdown run. There you see it. Next Eagles possession. Hartness is going to the air, finding his big tight end, Denver Pekowski, in the flat, and some strong running by the junior. Pounding defenders down to the ground. 46 yards. Davies leads it 14-6. The Davies defense, well, they'd settle in after that. Snap fumble, and things just turn south for Fargo North. Davies ends up winning this one 36-12. Pablo Nunez Perez, by the way, had a 48-yard field goal, a school record in that one. Top team in Class 2A is we go to the top team in Class 2A. St. Mary's taking on Devils Lake for the second time this season. Saints beat them 38-0 in the opener. And, well, it was another one of those type of games. Cullen Curl pulling out the Jason Andera-like moves. The juke. He gets to the end zone. It was homecoming night, and the Saints were in the mood to march, as in marching down the field. Jackson Euler hits the other Jackson on this offense. Jackson Rorick for the deep ball. Saints up 21-0. Blue guys looking pretty darn good. It's not all offense in this game, though. Check out Reese Barnhart, a standout on the wrestling mat, and, well, he just wrestled the quarterback down for a sack. St. Mary's wins big, putting up the 54-point performance to Devils Lake's nada. St. Mary's at Turtle Mountain next week. Central Cass will play Devils Lake next week. Tonight, they were playing Watford City. The Squirrels playing their first game in 14 days. That's when they hung up 65 points on Stanley. Actually, we're going to go to Beulah, Hillsboro, Central Valley here. A rematch of last year's state championship game. We picked this one up just seconds left in the second quarter. Burrow's up 17-7, trying to add on. Had Sam Preston scrambling his way around, but time would run out and we'd head to the half, 17-7. If you like defense, you love the rest of the highlights here. Enjoy the third quarter. Preston is picked off by Dylan Weigum, who returns it deep into HCV territory, but it's all for nothing due to a block in the back. So Hillsboro Central Valley still leading, and the Miners just can't get into the end zone, but they can get another turnover. Preston picked off this time by Trey Brandt, who's back and looking healthy for that Beulah offense. But Beulah was not able to capitalize again. Brandt, a QB for the Miners, he's going to throw a pick. I guess they call this game a pick'em. This one caught by Parker Gallagher of the Burros. We didn't get any touchdowns when we were there, but we got a lot of interceptions. HCV wins it 23-14. Barrett Williston and Sam Preston, 2 interceptions that we didn't get. Both of them took those interceptions to the house for pick sixes. Central Cass now playing their first game in 14 days when they hung up 65 on Stanley. Squirrels against Watford City tonight. On 4th and 1, Isaac Bokelman decides to pass, but it's picked off by Isaac Williams, who takes it back 50 yards for the score. Lucky number 7 into the land of 6. Second quarter now, Brendan Maggio has all day to throw. Just looking at him back there, great protection by the offensive line, the guys that don't get enough credit on Varsity Sports Live. Jake Deutsch underneath it, camping out, makes the reception and breaks away from tackles, and all of a sudden he's into the end zone. It's 34-zip Central Cass. Late in the second, Aiden Olsen-Tinglestead in at QB, throws a bomb to Logan Prochnow, who makes a fingertip catch. That's a beauty. Squirrels continue to put down the hammer on the Wolves. It was 42-0 at half. Watford City scores 6 in the second half, but it don't matter. Squirrels with the win in this one. As you see the Valley City logo, Valley City did not play tonight because their game was canceled due to COVID, and Hazen having to struggle with that. 1 year ago, they played for a trip to the Dakota Bowl with Bishop Ryan defeating Velva on the road tonight. Consider this the de facto Region 3 championship game. And how about another field goal, 35-yarder from Bram Johannesson. We're setting a record for field goals on this show. Jersey Selzer then to Gage Florence. Check out the effort here, the stiff arm. Oh boy, Gage Florence is a baller. 49-yard touchdown, 8-3 Velva. Later, Selzer caps another Aggies drive, dives in for the short score, 14-3 Velva. Second quarter, Bishop Ryan responds. Nick Sanders to Logan Merck, one of the better athletes you'll see in the state. One-handed catch, no problem. 14-10 though, Velva at the half. Third quarter, this is a 4th and 13. Selzer is looking for his main man downfield, Adam Shep. Laser pass, touchdown, 20-10 Velva. Last chance for Bishop Ryan now. Down 20-16, final play. Sanders gets tipped and it's knocked away by the Velva defense. Velva hangs on for the 20-16 win. They get that wooden penny. These teams just have a knack for playing great games. Here's reaction afterwards from the Aggies.
Well, really, we came out really in the first half team, and just to make plays right away to put them down, it was really important for us. But in the second half, we kind of slowed down. We got to work in the next couple weeks to improve on that. It feels great. I mean, they beat us last year in the state semifinal game, as you said, and they left a bad taste in their mouth. So to come out here and get this win tonight, it really feels good for us.
Thompson suffered its first loss last week at the hands of 4th-ranked Oaks, trying to get back on track at winless Oak Grove. Grover's defense up for the task early. Jesse Peterson and Mason Germstead, a couple of sophomores, plant Kyle Odenbach into the grass. And Thompson strikes gold on the very next play. Kyle Odenbach rolling out, finds Cole Potter going across the middle. The junior tight end keeping the balance, heading to the end zone. Sam Roller, check out the block there at the end. That's a running back, but he can block. Plays running back, wide receiver, does it all. How about some Tommy's defense? Josh Yan. Oh, that looked like it hurt. Chapter over on that screen. Moments later, it's Odenbach with the defense bearing down on him. He has to just heave up a prayer, and it's answered. Ryan Juve camping out underneath it for 6. Thompson goes on to win big tonight, 50-26. So those Tommies get right back on track before a matchup with Northern Cass. They're now 3-1. Oak Grove falls to 0-4. The defending champs from Kidder County displaying their state championship sign before a date with 3-0 Beach. It's the Bucks who strike first, though. Former game ball winner Tyson Mattern guts the Wolves off defense up the middle and scores. No conversion on him. The 2-point try, 6-0 Beach. Wolves answer on a Jonah Harder TD run. But first play of the second quarter, Mandan, the workhorse for the Bucks, gets the carry, finds the end zone again, Beach back in front. Harder, he might be a quarterback, but these are running back moves, man. The spin, the trot down the sideline. Kid is just an athlete. He's into the end zone. Harder was also getting it done through the air. Drops back to pass. He's going to find Peyton Coffin for 6. That puts the Wolves up by 8. Last play of the first half. Watch this. Wolves with the ball. Little pitch back to Harder, and he airs it deep to the end zone. Coffin again. Are you kidding me? Oh boy, triple coverage. It don't matter. Peyton Coffin gets it. They lead 30-18 at the break. The top-ranked Wolves stay perfect with a 46-18 win over a pretty darn good Beach squad. And now Beach goes to Linton HMB next week, Region 4. That thing's loaded, but Kidder County proven to be the best of the bunch. Well, last week's game ball winner, Sawyer Satcham, fresh off a 7-touchdown performance, trying to lead Mayport CG to 5-0, hosting 3-1 Tri-State. Oh boy, this game was crazy. Early first, Tri-State with it. Derek Carl rolls to his left, launches downfield. His buddy Leonel Chavez Salas comes down with it. Big catch later on the drive. Tigers in the red zone, but this time Carl not as lucky. The ball is going to be picked off by Josh Weaver for the Patriots, and we remain scoreless. Boy, we didn't finish scoreless. Wait until you hear the score. Not for long. Tri-State's defense containing the pass. The offense continues to move the ball. This one punched in. Carl in for the score. 2-point no good. It's 6-0. Ensuing drive by Mayport CG. Satcham connects with tight end Jordan Evans. Evans trots into the end zone. Mayport CG takes an 8-6 lead. The scoring never stopped, and I'm not kidding. Take a look at this. Yeah, I'll let it sink in. Mayport CG wins 74-48. They scored 42 points in the third quarter alone. That makes me want to go play some video games. Unbelievable to see that score. So a lot of big things. That score may be one of the most impressive. Cheyenne with the big win over Shanley. Remember, Century, the top-ranked team in 3A, had the night off. Their game canceled between them and Williston because of COVID-19 in the Williston area. Bismarck with a big win. A lot of big victories tonight. We'll recap it a little bit more later in zone coverage. But for now, we'll take a break and we'll be back with highlights from South Dakota. A lot of big games in the state to the south of where I am. That's next with Jandy and Tom.
Varsity Sports Live on Midco Sports Network is presented by South Dakota State University and Avera Orthopedics.
Hey, welcome back to Varsity Sports Live. Jason, a lot of good matchups tonight between 11 AA teams and 11A teams in South Dakota.
Yeah, last year, 11A really put AA on notice. And then the first round this year, AA got some revenge. But tonight, kind of split, but 11A, I think, had the more impressive night. We'll give you the rankings later. We'll see what we think.
All right, we'll get some of
They were
those.
good.
Our game of the night here. We showed you live Lincoln and O'Gorman. And pick up the highlights with O'Gorman coming into this one 1-2. Lincoln 2-1 coming off that win over Washington last week. Beat them 41-0. And defense all night for the Patriots. That is Jack Hughes, 42. They had 10 sacks officially on the night for the Lincoln Patriots in this one, and they held the running game from O'Gorman down. It was defensive early, couple interceptions both ways. Punters were doing their thing. There's one of those picks. That's Emmanuel Struck for O'Gorman, and then Kenny Bathke comes right back with a pick for Lincoln. So it's 0-0 through the first quarter.
Which I did not think we were going to have a 0-0 game, but the sacks kept coming, and Lincoln's defense played their first big game of the year.
Isaiah Robinson, they just rode him down the field on this drive. Trucks a guy at the goal line. 7-0 after Robinson goes in there. And Lincoln off and running. Tommy Thompson to Robert Hutchinson.
Get used to that name. The sophomore with his third touchdown catch of the year.
14-0, and then more of that Lincoln defense. They were good up front. The linebackers were good. This was another pick here for the Knights, but they had a little trouble getting some offense going. Tegan Schleming goes to Carter Peterson here. Nice block out there by Avery Erickson. Made it 14-7. Lincoln got a field goal from their freshman Tate Schaefer with about 5 minutes left. Made it 17-7, and then there's Hughes again. And they were all over the backfield. And Schlemgen and those guys Alex Heinert, who called the game with David Brown, said they actually had 11 sacks, he thought, but officially 10 sacks on the night for that Lincoln defense, and they get to 3-1, Jandy.
It was an impressive performance. Both teams were kind of looking to make their mark in 11 AAA, but Lincoln now is on a little bit of a roll. We'll see if they can keep it up.
Lincoln held O'Gorman to -8 yards rushing in that game tonight. So, Roosevelt and Rapid City Stevens out in the Black Hills. Stevens just trouble offensively this year, just 7 points total in their first 3 games. Roosevelt's been rolling. Talon Ashley to Michael Paulson, and then they hook it up here for a touchdown.
This receiving core is better than some colleges. I really think that they've got so many guys that they can go to. You can't cover them all. And Talon Ashley, almost 900 yards passing in his first 3 weeks. He just kept the air attack going.
A little Mahomes-like flip there to Griffin Wilde, one of their younger receivers, and then Tyree Nave with a touchdown.
Yeah, the run blocking has been the one thing that Kim Nelson would like to see them get better at, and they don't really have much of a chance to because they get down the field so fast with this guy, Talon Ashley.
They do have some beef up front there. Ashley to Tyler Feldkamp, who made a catch there in the back of the end zone. There he is. 21-0 Riders out to the lead, and then some defense here from Sioux Falls Roosevelt. That, I believe, is Trey Horner getting into the backfield. I think he does, well, he did it a couple times there, and then
Large coming in to play a little
Tucker
offense.
Large.
It's an embarrassment of riches for this offense.
It really
They got
is.
So many talented athletes.
Raiders, a little trouble on the punt here, and Roosevelt's going to get it in good field position again. Joe Ture. So they had, 5 guys score at this point? That made it 35-0. And then there's one more really good highlight here if we keep going. Ashley to Feldkamp.
Oh.
From deep, and it bounces off of
took the long
several
way.
defenders. All right, one more. Here it is. That went through the hands of his Stevens defender there, right into the hands of the waiting Feldkamp. 42-0 at halftime, and that ends up being the final.
Not a shock. Not a shock to see the best team in the state keep rolling.
Roosevelt gets to 4-0 on this season. Rapid City Central coming across the state out at Brandon Valley tonight. The Lynx coming in at 2-1. Central was close last week against Watertown in a loss, and it was close for a while here in this one this evening. Joe Kolbeck back at quarterback for Brandon Valley. And then one of the best in the state, Tate Johnson with the pitch and the touchdown.
This guy is just one of the biggest workhorses, and he's good for 2 or 3 touchdowns a week. I think he got in 3 times tonight.
Lynx up 6-0. Kolbeck taking it himself this time, 12-0.
It's nice for Kolbeck to get a couple weeks under his belt now. And Chad Garrow tells me he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks by the end of the year in the state.
Tate Johnson slipping in again. So 19-0 Lynx out to the lead. And then Rapid City Central stayed close, at least here in the beginning of this football game. Lane Darrow with a touchdown runner made it 19-7, Jandy.
I like their fight. They have not given up yet.
Tate Johnson reaching across there for his 3rd of the night, made it 26-7. The Cobblers got within a score at 26-14. So it was an 8-point game, and then Brandon Valley just kept pouring it on. So Kolbeck and Johnson in the ground attack as the Lynx get to 3-1. All right, let's go to one of these 11A, 11AA matchups. Madison at Brookings. Brookings coming in at 3-0. And Nate Rickey to Michael Dorer. And Madison looks really good early in this game. That was their first drive of the game. So they get out and they lead at 7-0. Peyton Wolf had an interception for Madison. And then Chris Reese with a touchdown run. It's 14-0 Dogs.
Yeah, the Bulldogs came out and they threw the ball really well. Nate Rickey, he had a good week last week throwing the ball even in their loss and started out really moving the team down the field tonight.
So Brookings spots them 14, and then Josh Burai gets going. Takes it in for a touchdown.
So hard to stop that guy.
14-7. And a little bit more.
Second touchdown in back-to-back drives for Burai, no problem.
Tied it up at 14. Brookings got a safety to make it 16-14 at halftime, and then That was Tyson Brandt with a touchdown to make it 23-14. This is Jackson Eck, coach's kid, the linebacker, young guy making a play, 29-14 as he takes that back on the fumble recovery. Burrai with another touchdown. He had 14 carries, 185 yards, 3 touchdowns tonight, Jandy. And after being down 14-0, Brookings wins at 43-14.
Yeah, there was definitely a turning point in this game. Nate Rickey did come out of the game injured, and Brookings capitalized from that point on, shut the door, and Josh Burrai, he was the one that shut the door, and I think we have him after the game right here.
Our main emphasis this week was to start off the game the way we start off practice. We probably had the best week of practice we've had all year, and I was thinking we'd start off strong right away, but then again, it just sometimes it takes a little bit to click, and we came out second half knowing we had to step it up a notch, so we did. We need to start off games going 100%. We got to click right away instead of after halftime, and then I think we'll be set.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Don't want to get down a couple scores early, but still, they get to 4-0 for the Bobcats now.
I'm thoroughly impressed with this Bobcats team and the way they came out. I don't think anybody expected much out of them this year, even though they made it all the way to the title game, gave Pierre all they could handle last year, and then people kind of just dismissed them. Well, they've got a new energy there, a new coach, and Josh Burrai has a lot to do with that. He's brought a lot of energy to this team.
Brookings, Yankton up there at the top of 11AA right now. So, all right, Mitchell as well. The Colonels come into this game against Dell Rapids at 3-0. Dells, however, 3-0 themselves, and they can more than hold their own playing up a class. Landon Rusink.
That was great play action on that play, or deception, I should say, and Rusink is fast. He got down the field in a hurry. 45-yard scamper there. 8-0 Warriors out to the lead. Mitchell's got Parker Phillips, though, who had another big night. And it was just 8-6 at halftime. They missed the two-point conversion here. So Dell's in the lead, 8-6 at the half. Yeah, it took him a while to get going, but Parker Phillips really is tough to tackle. He's so small. He's so hard to find behind the line. Here's an interception that I forgot I told you was in the highlights here. Right before halftime, that held them from taking a 2-score lead, and then they came out of halftime, and who do they go to? Parker Phillips.
60 yards on this one for Phillips, and he took the two-point conversion as well. So the Colonels get the lead at 14-8, and then they give it Tucker Vilhauer. Does this go 95 yards?
I thought it went. I thought it was from the 11-yard line, so pretty dang close. But that turned the game around. But Dell didn't quit. This is where they came back down the field, got a huge run to set up Landon Rusink once again for another touchdown.
Rusink, 132 yards, 2 scores, so it's 22-15. Colonel's still in the lead, but fourth quarter, Dells goes on an 80-yard drive. Kobe Mason gets the two-point conversion as well. So Dell Rapids takes the lead 23-22.
I mean, they were down 2 scores, pretty much dead, and then they started going physical. Now here's the last drive of the game. Mitchell thinks that they took the lead, but there's a holding call on the right side of the line.
That was a 64-yard run by Parker Phillips, but they bring it back. The Colonels drive down to the Dell Rapids 13-yard line. They're going for a game-winning field goal, but the snap and the hold are not there. They do run this down, and it stays 23-22, but that's basically the last play of the game, and Dell Rapids pulls it out 23-22.
This was a game of momentum. It started out, it looked like Mitchell was just going to push their way down the field, and then Dell Rapids changed it up a little bit. They went to Kobe Mason, let him run more. They got more physical, and they withstood the punches that Mitchell brought. It was a great game.
Mitchell had 398 total yards rushing, but comes in a loss as Dell Rapids gets to 4-0 on the season. Dakota Valley Sioux Falls Christian, we'll check that one coming up a little bit later in the show. Let's go to 11B, McCook Central Montrose, Bridgewater-Emery-Ethan. McCook Central averaging 50 points a game coming in, but Bridgewater is only giving up 6 points a game, and they did it again tonight. Gavin Gordon to Bobby Kepsel there, 7-6 game early on, and then Bridgewater-Emery-Ethan took over after that. Riley Schultz, Caden Klum, all these guys, Kobe Kaiser with a touchdown. There's the touchdown to Riley Schultz to put Bridgewater-Emery-Ethan up 13-6, and they roll from there.
It really felt like the turning point was right before halftime here. McCook Central had a chance to stay in the game, and Bridgewater-Emery-Ethan They capitalized big time on that turnover, and that's when things got cemented, and they really put their foot down after that.
Yeah, Kobe Kaiser going the other way after that fumble. 74 yards, made it 20-6. And then the last play of the half is not quite that one, but Eric Gustafson right here. This is the last play of the half. Gustafson reaches out, grabs that one down around his knees, takes it in for the score, and it's 26-6 at halftime. Bridgewater-Emery-Ethan, they kept rolling after that. Bodie Burnham had an 80-yard touchdown run in the second half, and the Seahawks get to 5-0, 52-6 tonight.
Kobe Kaiser is already making a push for the game ball. That guy ran for 242 and 3 touchdowns, and he had a pick 6. We'll see, Kobe. We'll see.
11B, Bridgewater-Emery-Ethan at 5-0 now. 9AA, Jandy. Viborg-Hurley at Baltic. Viborg-Hurley 3-0. Baltic's one of those teams that's only played 2 games so far, but they're 2-0.
These guys just matched up yesterday. They didn't know they were going to play each other until yesterday, and both teams came out slugging a little bit here, but Angel Johnson got on fire.
Yeah, Viborg-Hurley's been pounding people early on. 156 points in their first 3 games of the year. Johnson there from 51 yards out made it 40-20 Cougs. Ty Van Hull with a sack there for Viborg-Hurley, and then Blake Schroedermeyer swinging it out to Johnson, making everybody miss. Zoo. Nice move. Gets to the outside, takes that one in.
He's the fastest player in the state. At least as far as 40s times go at the Riggs Combine, he ran faster than anybody, and he showed it tonight.
52-20, Viborg-Hurley shuts out Baltic in the second half, and the Cougars, number 1 in 9AA, are 4-0 on the season.
Couple undefeated teams now.
All right, Ipswich, Edmond Central at Warner tonight, and Warner been running it up on people as well. 45 points a game for the Monarchs, and they've only allowed 12 total points in 4 games coming into this one.
Hunter Kramer doing a little dance in the backfield, ends up losing the football, and Ipswich takes over. I mean, Ipswich hasn't been in the top 5, but they've been playing like a top 5 team. A nice combination, but it was a defensive game early. That was Ty Cadlick who dropped that one. And then the big boy comes up the middle. Luke Peterson.
It is a big boy.
Breaks away from Warner, and I'll tell you what, it was back and forth early. It got through the third quarter before Warner finally took the lead in this one. Here comes Ipswich again, going to Peterson. Goes in for the touchdown, but like I said, Warner and Ipswich was a much closer game than people thought it would be, and I'll tell you what, it came down to the last play, and Warner pulls this one out to stay undefeated and stay in the top 5.
All right, let's go back to 11A now, Jason. Dakota Valley at Sioux Falls Christian. Another really good close game this evening in Sioux Falls. Kobe June, big night for him on the ground. Touchdown early, 7-0 Panthers. Evan Foster with a field goal. And 10-0 Dakota Valley on the road, leading at the half. Third quarter, they go on a 6-minute drive to start the second half. June with his second touchdown light. So 17-0 Dakota Valley in the lead, and then Sioux Falls Christian gets it going. Brooks Nelson to Jaden Whitty to make it 17-7. Kobe June comes back with his third of the night.
Yeah, they have such a unique offense where June will sit in the backfield, but they have 2 guys that they snap it to, and sometimes they go direct snap right to June, and he gave him problems.
Dakota Valley up 23-7 with about 8 minutes to go, but Nelson rips off a 55-yard touchdown. They get the 2-point conversion, so it's 23-15. And then with about a minute left, Nelson, beautiful throw, nice catch. 23-21, the 2-point conversion. That's short from tying it up in the final minute of the game, and Dakota Valley pulls it out 23-21.
I think there's a big group of teams in 11A that are going to be really good in the playoffs. I think these 2 could be included. I mean, they don't have dominant records, but they're right there with the Madisons, the West Centrals, all those teams in that middle of 11A. It's going to be a lot of fun to see how that class shapes out over these next 3 or 4 weeks right before we get ready for the playoffs.
One of the other games we didn't get to, Canton wins at Huron. Yeah. Canton wins 14-12. Huron Scored with about 2 minutes left to get it close. Could not get the 2-point conversion, though, so Canton goes on the road to Huron and wins 14-12.
Their first win of the year, and they could be one of the best teams in the class. They played T as well as anybody's played them so far this year, so watch out for the Seahawks.
All right, when we come back, zone coverage, we'll throw it around, get some more post-game reaction from the coaches in North Dakota and South Dakota.
Varsity Sports Live on Midco Sports Network is presented by Avera Orthopedics and South Dakota State University.
Welcome back to Varsity Sports Live. Let's go back to North Dakota. Jody Norstedt with some more post-game reaction from the games up there tonight. And just to be clear, Bismarck Century and Mayville Portland, they have the same helmet. That's the exact same helmet, right?
Yeah, this is Mayport CG, who scored, what was the total? 74, I think I said?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. There were 100 points scored in the, or not 100, 10 combined touchdowns in the third quarter of that game between Mayport CG and Tri-State. And again, the game ball went to Sawyer Satcham this past week from Mayport CG because he had 7 touchdowns and 7 2-point conversions. It can't go to the same place 2 weeks in a row, right?
Can it?
Good.
I don't know, man. And that's crazy because there's another team that cracked 70 in the 9-man ranks. Lemoore Litchfield Marion moved to 5-0. They won 72-12. So a lot of points for whatever reason in North Dakota. Maybe it was the sloppy, wet conditions last week that had these guys motivated for a picture-perfect night. Cavalier with a big win, 56-6. I'm looking at Class A now. West Hope Newburgh Glenburn suffered its first loss to Carrington. So who's left that's unbeaten? Langdon Edmore Munich, Oaks, Lisbon, Killdeer. Those are the nine-man or the Class A teams that are still kind of in those unbeaten ranks. But let's go back to Class 3A. Cheyenne beat Shanley in just an epic game, 43-38. Emmett Kenny had the state record, it confirmed, 58-yard field goal in that one. That's why he has offers from NDSU and USD. But it was Cheyenne coming out on top. Some good passes to Jaheim Leak in the end zone, plus just that offense, that ground game was rolling for the Mustangs. Here's Jeremy Newton, the head coach.
It was a good game for us. They're a heck of a football team. It was a great battle, and just proud of how our guys responded to adversity tonight. Yeah, they played well. The offensive line is doing a good job, and the team is responding.
So the number 2 Mustangs take care of the number 4 Shanley Deacons. Cheyenne, it was just the second meeting between those two teams, by the way, so Cheyenne getting its first win against that Shanley program. Now they're left unbeaten in EDC play, and same with Davies. On the west side, you have Bismarck High, Century, who didn't play this week because of Williston's COVID cases. And then Jamestown, all of a sudden 3-0 after coming back to beat Legacy with that huge late comeback. How about in the Class A ranks, there's a big matchup between Velva and Bishop Ryan. Great rivalry, great games all the time between those squads. Velva hangs on for the 20-16 dramatic win. Larry Sander afterward, give him credit to his offense.
I thought I don't know if we can call it bend, but break defense, I don't know what we call it, but we know we got to make more plays than what we did tonight, even on the defensive side, and not put ourselves in a position like we did at the end. We got to take this game and enjoy the victory, but know that we have a lot of work to do, and we got a bigger picture of what's coming down the road.
Getting it done on both sides of the ball. That Velva team is always good, and Larry Sandy, one of the best head coaches in the state. But guys, that was fun. Tonight was fun. A lot still to be determined, but we're starting to see some teams really stick out. I look at a team like Lisbon, a team like Kidder County, and when you put up as many points as these guys did, that's pretty darn good.
All right, thanks, Jody. Great work tonight, buddy. We'll see you next week.
Thanks. We'll see you guys.
All right, Jandy, let's get to some postgame here in South Dakota. Brookings, I believe, up first. Brookings got down to Madison 14-0 in Brookings tonight, and then came back, scored 43 straight points and won it.
Yeah, and their head coach, Brady Clark, keeps saying that they've gone through a lot of adversity this year. And, I think they have done a really nice job of gelling. And we talked to Brady after the game about the big win.
For us, tonight's game was a little sloppy. Like you said, dug ourselves a hole right away. But, one thing about this team is we're very resilient, and we're pretty mentally tough, and we're building on that every single week. And, we were able to start forcing some turnovers and play tougher defense, and that really set the tone for our offense, and we were able to start moving the ball and made some big plays there. And we just have a lot we need to clean up, and we saw that tonight, and we're going to get that cleaned up and keep moving forward.
Well, it was pretty clean game. You always have to work on something, though, and Brady Clark has got the pieces. Parker Theobald played a great game on the line up for the Bobcats, and unfortunately, Nate Rickey left the game due to injury. Hopefully, we'll get our eyes on him next week. I think we've got a Team Madison game next week that is going to be on Midco Sports Network, so that'll be fun to see how they bounce back.
Brookings and Yankton still 4-0, the only 2 unbeatens left in 11AA.
Yeah.
In 11A, Dell Rapids at home tonight against Mitchell in one of those 11AA, 11A matchups, and Dell Rapids comes out on top 23-22. You were out there, and
it was a great game.
They came down. Talk about the end of the game a little bit, because Dell Rapids had the lead. They went for 2 to go up by 1 point.
Right.
And then Dell's was
6 minutes left.
Dell's was driving again.
Right.
Mitchell stopped them up at about the 11-yard line. Mitchell takes it all the way back for a touchdown with Parker Phillips that gets called back by a holding penalty.
And of course, it's a penalty that cost them about 15 yards, I think, because of the position they held behind the line, and it's a positional foul. But they were resilient. They came back down. They made a couple big plays. Tucker Vilhauer keeps running it hard. Parker Phillips is so hard to stop that they got down into real makeable field goal range. But high school field goals, it's not automatic, that's for sure. And we're not going to put the pressure on the kicker, but it was a great ending. But either way, this Dell Rapids team has something special. Last year they won a ton of close games. Tonight they win a close game. And we talked to Jordan Huska after the game about his Warriors.
This senior group has been a part of a lot of close games. Back to their sophomore year, last year as juniors, we had a number of one-point games that they've done in these situations, so that they know that whenever out of a game, keep fighting.
That's exactly right. They went undefeated last year, winning a ton of close games, and so far still undefeated this year.
Yeah, I mean, Mitchell had almost 400 yards rushing.
Yeah,
they can really move the ball with Phillips and those guys, but
they had the game under control with 2-score lead, but they kept making a little mistakes here and there, and Dell Rapids got more and more physical as the game went on.
And Dell scores late and goes for 2 to take the lead, and they end up winning at 23-22.
It was fun. It was a fun one.
All right, we will take one more break when we come back. The rundown coming up. One big, huge, monstrous highlight from a lot of games around the region tonight.
Varsity Sports Live on Midco Sports Network is presented by Avera Orthopedics and South Dakota State University.
Welcome back to the rundown. One big play from all 19 games we had a camera at tonight. Lincoln over O'Gorman tonight at Howard Woodfield.
He's a sophomore.
17-7. Richardson with a touchdown there. Roosevelt on the road to Rapid City Stevens. Talon Ashley, big night, hooking up with Michael Paulson. Brandon Valley at home, 63 on Rapid City Central. Colbeck and Johnson doing it. Jandy?
Tough to tackle those guys, and when they both come at you, that's how you get 63 points.
Viborg-Hurley stays unbeaten, 52-20 tonight. Angel Johnson, big night.
His biggest night of the year so far. They really do miss Chase Mason, but when you got a guy who runs a 4.45 like that, it's nice to have.
Brookings got defensive. Jackson Eck with the scoop and score for the Bobcats as they win 43-14 over Madison. Dell Rapids, one of the really good games of the night. Warriors win it 23-22 over Mitchell.
Yeah, this is the first score of the night. All of these scores were long touchdowns. Parker Phillips, Tucker Vilhauer, and company came up just a little short.
Dakota Valley got out big in front of Sioux Falls Christian. Christian makes a big comeback, but they come up 2 points short, 23-21. Bridgewater-Emery-Ethan scores 52 tonight on McCook Central Montrose.
It was close for a few minutes, but this Seahawks team is very talented.
They stay unbeaten. Warner at home against Ipswich Edmond Central tonight, 45-24.
The Kramers, they somehow get it done.
In North Dakota, Fargo Davies on the night, 36-12 over North. Davies is 4-0 on the season.
Yeah, Reed Hartness and company playing well in the EDC. These guys are playing well in the EDC as well.
Great game. Cheyenne scores late to beat Shanley 43-38. Big night again for Barika Penu, and those guys. Bismarck over Mandan 49-21. Bismarck gets to 3-0 on the season. Legacy and Jamestown. Jamestown down 20-0. They come back and win it 21-20 to stay unbeaten.
I've watched Jamestown for several years, and it's great to see them off to such a great start.
St. Mary's 54-0 over Devils Lake tonight. St. Mary's gets to 4-0 on the year.
They're gonna be tough to beat.
Hillsboro, Central Valley, and Beulah. Another good game in North Dakota. Touchdown difference there as both teams get to 3-1 on the season. The Squirrels from Central Cass, big over Watford City.
Beautiful pass.
Oak Grove hosting Thompson. Thompson rolls 50-26 to get to 3-1 for the Tommies.
The Grovers.
Velva
We love
hangs
the
on.
Grovers.
They got a late interception to seal the deal over Bishop Ryan. Velva is 4-0 on the season in Class A.
They've been tight walking as a 2 seed or a 2-ranked team. They've had a lot of close games recently.
9-man finals. Kidder County over Beach 46-18. Kidder County in those sweet black and silver unis. They are 4-0 on the year. 74-48. What is that? 122 points. Mayville Portland CG gets to 5-0 on the year. And there you go. We will see you next Friday night here on Midco Sports Network. What's our live game next Friday?
I believe it's T in Madison next week, so got some 11A action coming up.
All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks to Jody Norstedt. See you next week on Varsity Sports Live.
Thanks, everybody.